Hello everyone! In today's video, we're going to cover what I think are the 15 best dive watches that are below $500 over the past year. Let's get started. Starting at number 15, the Seiko SRPC91 Turtle Save the Ocean Edition. The famous Seiko Turtle lineup is known for the popularity of its predecessors among many explorers who went on expeditions in extreme climatic conditions, such as the renowned Antarctic Research Expedition, which is commissioned for the Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition. The one shown here is the model SRPC91, which is part of Seiko's Save the Ocean series. This diver has a captivating reflective blue dial that changes color from blue to black depending on the light, as well as a two-tone blue dive time bezel that sets it apart from the other models in the family. If we have a look at some of its design features, the Seiko Turtle has a case-size diameter of 45 millimeters and a thickness of 13.3 millimeters. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 48 millimeters and a lug width of 22 millimeters. It has an in-house automatic Seiko 4R36 movement, which allows up to 41 hours of power reserve. With a Hardlex crystal, this watch can sustain up to 200 meters of water resistance, and you're looking at a budget of roughly $495. Next up, number 14, the Seiko SRPB53 Samurai. If you think the Turtle is a little boring, then you should definitely try this watch. The Samurai belongs to the Prospex family of divers and is distinguished by its angled case profile and bold markers. The Samurai has a waffle dial with a unique textured feel that is subtle but powerful on many levels. The rubber strap fitted option would be ideal for under $500, as the bracelet option would normally push well over this amount, while leaving something to be desired for the price. For the design features on this watch, we're looking at a case size of 43.8 millimeters and a thickness of 13.4 millimeters. It has a lug-to-lug of 48 millimeters and a lug width of 22 millimeters. And just like the Turtle, we have an in-house automatic Seiko 4R36 movement, which allows 41 hours of power reserve. With a Hardlex crystal, it also allows 200 meters water resistance. And with an identical price tag of $495, you get to choose whether you think the Turtle looks better or the Samurai. Moving swiftly along to number 13, the Seiko SRPD515 Sports. Despite not being a direct successor, the Seiko 5 Sports line is frequently referred to as a modern reissue of the cult classic SKX. The SRPD51 was met with mixed reviews upon its initial release, owing to its lack of a screw-down crown and water resistance of only 100 meters. However, as it has become clearer that this watch was never intended to be an SKX replacement, but rather a great addition to the Seiko 5 family, much of the criticism has subsided. With its new caliber, familiar design formula, and wide range of variations, this Seiko 5 has been a big seller. Zooming in on its design features, we see that it has a case size of 42.5 millimeters and a thickness of 13.4 millimeters. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 46 millimeters and a lug width of 22 millimeters. Housing the same 4R36 automatic Seiko movement and power reserve of 41 hours, this Hardlex Crystal 100 meter water resistance watch comes in at $295. Hopping over to number 12, the Seiko SBDY 033 Prospex Monster Vintage. The Seiko Monster Vintage, like many other iconic Seiko divers, is a classic that may not capture the hearts and minds of most people, but it is a striking and aggressive looking dive watch with an instantly recognizable design. The dial is a sunburst blue with applied markers that are filled with tons of Lumi Bright in a vintage patina shade. In comparison to its predecessors, this version of the Monster has elongated cyclops for easier viewing of the watch's day and date functions. The Monster is reasonably priced at under $500, making it a fantastic value for money for something with such a serious appearance. The Monster features a case-size diameter of 42.4 millimeters and a thickness of 13.4 millimeters. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 49.4 millimeters and a lug width of 20 millimeters. Once again, Seiko has kept the same power reserve, movement and crystal. However, we are looking at a massive difference with water resistance at 200 meters, which makes it understandable that the Monster comes in at $450. Coming in at number 11, the Nodus Retrospect II. The Nodus Retrospect II packs a powerful punch in terms of build quality for the price. The watch, which has a Seiko NH35 movement and a really nice design, was one of the main reasons Nodus was able to capture the micro brand market and propel them forward. So when it comes to the design features, we're looking at a case size of 40.5 millimeters, a thickness of 13.5 millimeters, as well as a lug-to-lug of 49 millimeters and a lug width of 22 millimeters. Its automatic Seiko NH35 movement is regulated in 4 positions. It has a power reserve of 41 hours. It boasts a sapphire crystal and a 200-meter water resistance. I'm sure there are many fans out there who won't mind paying around $450 for this watch. Ticking away with number 10, the Timex Navy XL Automatic. The Navy XL Automatic was inspired by the diver version of the Navy XL Automatic from the 1970s. While the Navy XL Automatic isn't a certified diver, it does have 100 meters of water resistance, a stylish design, and plenty of features to get you through the day. The Navy XL Automatic featured here is a full IP-coated stainless steel variant that distinguishes itself from other color variants with a black background date wheel that complements the watch as a whole with its stealthy look while doing so at an affordable price. When we examine the design features, we're looking at a case size of 41 millimeters, a thickness of 13.5 millimeters, as well as a lug-to-lug of 50 millimeters and a lug width of 20 millimeters. Its Auto Myota 8215 movement allows up to 40 hours of power reserve. It features a nice mineral crystal and a water resistance of 100 meters. You're looking at a budget of roughly $259, making a splash at number 9, the Orient Kamasu. The Kamasu watch competes in the same market space as the infamous and now discontinued SKX. Although the Kamasu has a basic diver's specification, it has quickly become one of the best value propositions in watchmaking thanks to its solid movement, sapphire crystal, wearable case, and appealing appearance. Looking at its design features, we have a case size of 41.8 millimeters and a thickness of 12.8 millimeters. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 46.3 millimeters and a lug width of 22 millimeters. Its automatic Orient caliber F6922 allows 40 hours of power reserve. Our divers out there will love that it has a 200-meter water resistance, but only costs around $280. Following closely is number 8, the Orient Kano. The Kano, a larger size diver from Orient, captures the market with its much larger case sizing and distinctive design element that distinguishes it from the Kamasu. With its markers and handset, the Kano has a streamlined and simple design that gives it a middle-of-the-road presence despite its larger case size. The broad hour and minute hands help with the legibility and time reading in any situation, and it's a great looking diver for the price. Looking at its design features, it has a case size of 44mm, a thickness of 12.9mm. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 50mm and a lug width of 22mm. It has an auto Orient caliber F6922 movement and allows up to 40 hours power reserve and a 200-meter water resistance. For a watch of its capabilities, this great-looking watch comes at a price of around $425. Bouncing over to number 7, the Dufrane Barton Springs. Dufrane watches are a cool boutique brand based in Austin, Texas. Their first foray into the market was with the Barton Spring 656, a minimalist diver with a fun aesthetic and a solid Swiss movement inside. Their watches are hand-assembled in the United States by Loomtech, a fantastic micro brand that specializes in regulation. And if we zoom in on its features, we're looking at a case size of 42mm and a thickness of 12.85mm. It has a lug-to-lug of 47.6mm and a lug width of 22mm. Its automatic Solitude SW200-1 movement allows around 38 hours of power reserve. It has a nice domed sapphire crystal, and it has an impressive water resistance of up to 200 meters. You can expect to pay around $499 for the Barton Spring 656. Featuring at number 6, the Dan Henry 1970. Dan Henry was founded by, you guessed it, Dan Henry, a well-known vintage watch collector and the founder of the website Timeline Watch. Dan Henry creates timepieces that scream value for money, and 1970 is no exception. It features a Seiko NH35 movement in a vintage compressor diver-style casing. Looking at the design features, we have a case size of 40mm, a thickness of 14.8mm, as well as a lug-to-lug of 45.7mm and a lug width of 22mm. Its automatic Seiko NH35 movement allows up to 41 hours of power reserve. It has a mineral crystal and a water resistance of up to 200 meters, and to top it all off, a nice price of around $290. And on to number 5, the Spinnaker Brander. Spinnaker offers yet another compressor-style vintage-inspired dive watch. As their name implies, Spinnaker offers a wide range of dive watches in a variety of styles, but the Brander stands out thanks to its unique hour hand, which separates itself from other compressor dive watches. Looking at its design features, it has a case size of 42mm and a thickness of 15mm. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 50mm and a lug width of 20mm. Its automatic Seiko NH35 movement allows up to 41 hours of power reserve. It has a beautiful sapphire crystal and a water resistance of up to 180 meters. You're looking at a rough budget of $290 for this watch. Coming in at number 4, the Raven Solitude. Don't be fooled by the Raven Solitude's appearance. It has a lot of specification features and a great overall build quality for a diver watch that looks both fun and serious for its price. And for the price, you'll get a 300-meter water resistance and a well-controlled movement within. Raven was a pioneer in the micro brand community, and many of their peers hold them in high regard. So some of the design features: it has a case size of 40mm and a thickness of 13mm. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 47mm and a lug width of 20mm. Its automatic Seiko NH35A movement allows up to 41 hours of power reserve. It has a sapphire crystal and, as mentioned, a whopping 300-meter water resistance. Bearing this in mind, it's definitely worth the price of around $480. Heading over to number 3, the Traska Freediver. The Traska Freediver with a mint dial is one of the most interesting examples of a low-cost diver with an unusual dial color. It has great dimensions, including a slightly oversized crown without crown guards to give owners a taste of vintage-inspired design, in addition to its unique color. The Freediver also has a scratch-resistant coating on its watches, allowing it to reach hardness levels of 1200 HV. So some design features: it has a case size of 40mm and a thickness of 12.5mm. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 48mm and a lug width of 20mm. It has an automatic Seiko NH35, which allows up to 41 hours of power reserve. It has a sapphire crystal and a water resistance of up to 200 meters. You can expect to pay around $400 for this watch. Getting closer to the top with number 2, the Citizen Promaster Dive Automatic. The Promaster Dive Automatic is one of the most popular dive watches in the collection with professional features. With the watch's lineup predecessors, the Citizen Promaster Diver has been building on its relationship with the Italian Marina Militare. Despite its larger case size, it's extremely comfortable to wear on the wrist, thanks to its total lug-to-lug length and low price. Having a look at its design features, it has a case size of 44mm and a thickness of 13.1mm. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 48mm and a lug width of 20mm. Its automatic Miyota 8203 movement allows up to 40 hours of power reserve. It has a sapphire crystal and a water resistance of up to 200 meters. It really is a fantastic watch for the price of roughly $400. And the moment you've been waiting for, number 1, the Vostok Amphibia. The Vostok Amphibia is a cult classic known and loved by legions of value-hungry dive watch enthusiasts. The Russian-made Vostok, which runs on an in-house movement and comes in hundreds of different case and dial variations, costs less than $100 and is the subject of a thriving aftermarket modification scene. The Amphibia, made famous by Bill Murray in the hipster favorite film, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, is the most affordable, genuine automatic diver's watch available. Looking at its design features, it has a case size of 39mm and a thickness of 15mm. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 46mm and a lug width of 18mm. It has an automatic Vostok 2416 movement, which allows up to 31 hours of power reserve. It has a domed acrylic crystal and a massive 200-meter water resistance. It is totally value for money with a price of roughly $88. This wraps up my review of what I think are the 15 best dive watches so far. Thank you for watching this video. Nothing helps my channel more than you watching until the very end. These videos take a long time to make and are a labor of love. If you enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comments below. And remember, time is your greatest asset.